Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. This is the follow-up video from the session this morning for the 2020 Changemaker Conference. And wouldn't you know, I pushed the record button and it didn't record. So I'm re-recording the video for you. Again, it was a pleasure working with you all this morning. I'm also going to post this on my YouTube channel. So for educators that may see this, if you were not a part of the 2020 Changemaker Conference, it's fine. This is just going to give you an overview into Flipgrid, give you some basics on how to set it up and how to use it. And we're also going to walk through some creative ways to use it in your classroom with your students. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the presentation. If you have questions, definitely reach out and let me know, and we'll just go from there. So here's your intro to the presentation for the second time if you were a part of the conference. Bye. Hello. For me now, it is afternoon. For you guys, we went over this information this morning. If you were a part, like I said, of the 2020 Changemaker Conference, but I'm going to re-record this so you have all of the information that you need. And what I've decided to do as we get through is instead of sharing the screenshots with you guys, because you all will have access to this presentation and the screenshots, I'm actually going to go into Flipgrid and walk you through the things that we did this morning. So I think it'll make a little bit more sense as we go through the actual tool, and then we'll come back and we'll further discuss those ways again in which you can use it with your students. So for those of you that were not a part of that conference, hello, my name is Natasha Rachel. I'm a digital learning specialist for Atlanta Public Schools. Here are my Twitter and Instagram handles. I would love to connect with you on either of those two social media platforms. If you are on Twitter, let's definitely use those hashtags 2020 Changemaker and hashtag Flipgrid for all. That will continue the conversation over on social media, not just about this session, but about all of the sessions that you attended for the Changemaker Conference. The link to this slide deck is located right there for you. That is a bit.ly link, and so it is case sensitive. So make sure you type it in exactly as you see it. Once you have it, you can go ahead and save it to your Google Drive. It'll be there for you, and you have access to it. A little bit about me. I am an alternatively certified high school science teacher. After I left the science classroom, I jumped into the world of professional learning, and I served as a math and science transition to teaching coach. And after I finished that awesome position, it was a grant-funded position, I jumped into the world of educational technology, and it has by far been the best job ever. I have not looked back. Every day is something different. It's definitely a little high stress right now as we're getting ready for remote learning, but it's the best. I love what I do every single day. Our district is a dual Google Microsoft district. So we have both Google and Microsoft available for teachers and students. And I think that's the best of both worlds. A lot of districts have one or the other, and they think you can only use one or the other. But as educators, we definitely have to do our due diligence in making sure that we're preparing our students for their futures and not ours. We don't know if, for example, we use Google in our school and then we send them off to college. They might use Microsoft when they get to college, or when they get their career job, they might end up using the opposite of what we're making them comfortable with. A lot of times we'll use what we're comfortable with, but we really need to expose them to both. And both of those are free for students and teachers. So I think you're doing your students a disservice if you don't expose them to both. Like you guys, I'm sure you all have a ton of tools available at your fingertips. We do as well, and we have to be well versed in all of them because students and teachers in our schools could be using them in many different ways, and they could be using some at one school and some at another school. And so we have to be able to support all of our teachers and students in those tools. I'm a wife and I'm a mom of two amazing young men. I am that cliche lifelong learner, just like you guys, because you logged on this morning to the Changemaker Conference. And I know that for you to take time out of your schedules during the summer, that you too are lifelong learners. And my why is just to continue to pour into educators and students all across the country. I also have to give a shameless plug. I am one of the co-authors of the Microsoft Infused Classroom. There's a link there if you would like to pick it up from Amazon. It was an honor and a pleasure creating this educational resource for teachers everywhere. And because you have this recording, there is a link there. This is what I shared with the group this morning, and this is how I'm going to get you all the link to this presentation. All right, so our session goals. We're going to go over an overview of Flipgrid. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. We are going to set up your Flipgrid account, which you all did this morning. We're going to walk through creating a grid, creating and sharing a topic. We're going to go through the Disco library. We're going to spend a little bit of time there. I think that's definitely one of the magic tools of Flipgrid. And then we're going to talk about some different ideas for using Flipgrid for remote learning that you may not have thought about. And then the last thing we're going to do is look at Shorts. And Shorts is a video editing tool. That's the way I like to describe it. For those of you that want to dip and dabble into video editing, but you are nervous like me, this is a great place to start. So this morning we talked about your familiar I can never say this word, familiarity. I totally jacked that up with a Flipgrid. And so in the chat box, we dropped numbers. And what I found this morning was that I had from 1 to 3. And so that really gave me a place to know where I needed to start from with Flipgrid. So what is it? I want to just share that I have been an OG Flipgrid user since 2013. And back then it was created for college students in Minnesota. And it has since morphed into this amazing platform. And I just want to share that we talk about tools and resources and all this technology for our kids, but it's never the answer. It's never the thing that's going to deliver. All it is the thing that delivers the content. All right, so what is Flipgrid? Flipgrid has been around for a while. I have been one of the original users since 2013. I stumbled across it, and back then it was something that was geared towards college students in Minnesota. That's where it was originally created, and it has since morphed into a video discussion platform that millions of teachers and students are using from pre-K all the way to PhD. I use it with students, I use it with teachers, I use it with our central office staff, administrators. So there's something for everyone. And I think a lot of people see it and it's so super colorful. And I think a lot of people believe that it's just geared towards elementary students, but anybody can use Flipgrid. It's absolutely amazing. And we're going to dive into some of these things, different ways to use it in your classroom or your schools for PLCs, Gridpals. We're going to talk about all of this. So why should you use Flipgrid? Well, you can use it for different introductions that you need to do. I'm going to show you an example of a kindergarten, a school that has a bunch of incoming kindergartners. And what they use it for is to create, what they used it for was to create an introduction to the school year that housed a bunch of resources for parents to make their transition into kindergarten a little bit easy. So I'll share that with you today. You could also use it for discussions. You could use it as a form of podcasting or collaboration. For students, it's a great place to brainstorm and debate, for reflection. I think a lot of people use it just for the reflection piece, but there's so much more to it, and we're going to talk about that. HyperDocs is another example that you could use it for as well, and of course, presentations. So there are tons of ways. These are just a few here that you could use Flipgrid from the pre-K through 8th grade setting, high school, university, staff, and PLC, and enterprise. One of the educational people that work for Flipgrid, Jornay, she always says, if you think it, you can Flipgrid it. And so literally, if you think about whatever you think about for your students, they can do it in Flipgrid. So the first thing we're going to do is sign up for your account. And I am posting this video on YouTube, so I will put the link down in the description box. But all you're going to do is click on that hyperlink and create your account. Once you create your account, and this is where I'm going to come out and go into Flipgrid. So we are going to kind of work from here going forward. Once you create your account, you're either going to use your Microsoft school account or your Gmail account. and you are going to have access to Flipgrid. It is free. Everything I'm going to show you today is free, so I don't want you to worry about that. And when you log into Flipgrid, you will land on this tab here that says My Grids, but for the purpose of this walkthrough, we're going to start at the beginning with My Activity. So what this is going to show you is it's going to start with your dashboard. It's going to show you how many grids you have. So currently I have 53 grids that I've created. I have 262 topics that lay within those grids, and I'll show you a little bit more detail what that looks like. I have 728 total videos that have been created in my topics, again, which reside in my grids, follow me, and 11 videos have been posted this week. Total, I have 2,390 video views. So it gives you a lot of engagement data, which is great for teachers as we move forward into remote learning. And maybe your administrators are looking for, I don't want to say proof of what you're doing, but just to kind of cover yourself and have that data. I think this is a great thing to be able to pull from. Any of this information can be shared on Facebook or Twitter just by clicking those buttons. And then it also keeps track with how many days. So I have 1 day and 6 hours of engagement across all of my grids. Then it gives you a fun fact. That's how long it takes to ride Amtrak's Empire Builder from Chicago to Portland. As we scroll down, you can see different achievements that I have earned. So because I've done all of this, or I've created all of this content, if you will, it tells me, you know, congratulations, you got the Green Thumb Award. And to earn that, you have to create 50 grids. So there's tons of them that are in here. But as you create, you'll see that those achievements will be unlocked. And then I have recent videos that show under that. Okay. If I come here to achievements, this is going to continue to dive in a little bit deeper into the achievements that I've earned. We talked a little bit this morning about badges, and I'll show you some more information about that. But here are the badges that I've earned through doing different tasks for Flipgrid. It also gives you a community builder code. So if you were to share Flipgrid with your colleagues or your with your colleagues, you could just copy this link and have them sign up. And then down here, these badges that are here, they will light up as you earn them. Again, more badges down here. Badges for teachers are like virtual stickers. And so as you earn them, they light up, and then you know you have earned that badge. Then recent videos is self-explanatory. It just shows all your recent videos. We're going to move over into the next tab here called My Grids, okay? And I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a grid. These are all of the grids that I currently have that I've created since, let's see, March 23rd, 2017. And so I have 53 grids, like I said. This is the one that we worked from this morning, and I'm going to come back to this one, but I just want to show you how easy it is to create a grid. And if you ever need help, there's a Getting Started guide link right here for you, okay? So I'm going to click Add New Grid. And when you're adding a grid, I want you to think of the grid as your book. Your book is, or you could think of it, let's call it a trapper keeper. That's an even better example. So this grid is your trapper keeper. And then as we move into the topics in just a second, those topics are going to be like your dividers inside of your trapper keeper, okay? So the first thing you're going to have to do is name your grid. And I want you to put some thought into how you're going to name these. So for example, when I was a high school science teacher, I had 4 blocks. I had, for the most part, it was like 3 blocks of environmental science and maybe 1 block of advanced biology or something like that. So I would probably name these block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. If you're an elementary school teacher, you might want to name them math 2020, 2021, science 2020, 2021, whatever is going to make it easier for you to access. I wouldn't just make one grid for the school year with all of your content in there if you're an elementary teacher, because you have so many different contents that you teach. So you really want to think about the best way to organize this, okay? So I'm just going to name this Changemaker Test Grid. And then as I scroll down here, There are 3 different options that I have to create like the type of grid that this is going to be. The first is school email, and this is where students are able to join using their Microsoft or Google school email accounts. If you're a teacher and you're creating this for your students, that's the way that you want to go. If you need to create a list of student IDs, maybe you're doing some kind of club or something like that, and you don't have Microsoft or Google email addresses, then you can go that route. And then if you are a district level position and you're looking to do PLCs or book reviews, book clubs, book studies, grade level, putting all of your teachers in grade level PLCs or subject matter PLCs, whatever that looks like for your school, then you would want to do the educator learning community. Then it's going to give you a link. It generates a link automatically for your Flipgrid. And this part right here is totally customizable. Sometimes I do customize it, sometimes I don't. It's totally a preference for you, but just know that you do have that capability. Otherwise, it's just going to generate one for you. And then you click next. Oh, didn't create one, sorry. I'm going to do the educator learning community. If I want to password protect it, this is where I would do that. And I'm not going to do that now. And I click next. And there you go. Congratulations. Your grid is created. Just that easy. I forgot to share this morning, but here I have all these options to just kind of push this out instantly. I have an embed code here. I can shoot it straight over to Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom, or I can share it directly over to Remind if I have those accounts set up, and I can just go ahead and click those and they'll shoot them over there. If you're going to embed it, let's say into like a Google site or something like that, you can just click that, get the embed code, and you'll be good to go. To share this grid or to do whatever I need to do with it, I'm just going to copy this link here and I can then paste it wherever I want to paste it. That could look like pasting it in a newsletter a virtual newsletter that I'm going to send home. It could look like putting the link on a class Facebook page that I have. It could look like emailing it to my parents and students. So you have the link there. There's another place you can get the link once you leave this page here, but then you're just going to click go to your grid and it automatically creates your grid for you. Okay. Now it's automatically going to create the first topic for you. You can delete this. You don't have to have it here. A lot of teachers will leave this here because what it will allow students to do is have a safe space, especially during remote learning. I heard of a teacher that left this here to have a safe space for his kids to kind of connect with each other. This was kind of like their hangout. They knew they couldn't be inappropriate here, obviously, because the teacher still has access and control to everything that's posted here. But it gave them a place to kind of have a place to hang out. Okay. So we have that. Now, if I want to add a new topic, all I have to do is come down here to add new topic. These topics, again, I want you to think of the dividers in your Trapper Keeper. So for topic essentials, maybe I'm teaching environmental science. And so this unit that we're getting ready to study is about the water cycle. I can then come down here and ask my question. So maybe I'm going to say, maybe I'm going to say describe the steps of the water cycle. Then I can scroll down. I have a few controls here. My recording time, it defaults to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Think about this though. If you have 32 students in each of your 4 blocks, if you click that and leave it at 1 minute and 30 seconds, if they take up all 1 minute and 30 seconds, that means you have 1 minute and 30 seconds times 32 students to watch for each topic that you create. So I'm asking them to describe the steps of the water cycle. I think that's something they should be able to do in under 1 minute for what I'm asking them to do. So I'm going to lower that down to 1 minute. You do see that you have between 15 seconds and 10 minutes. Then if I want to have video moderation, which means I'm going to be able to view the videos before I release them and have my students be able to see them, you would go ahead and check that. I leave it unchecked because I like for my students to be able to see what's coming in live and in real time. Then if I wanted to record a video to accompany this, so maybe I have students that they prefer to read the directions. And then maybe I have students that are more visual and they want to see me and hear me giving the instructions. I can record a video that will show up at the top with the directions. So students could push play and watch the video, or they could read the text. Maybe I have a video that I created somewhere else. I could upload it here. I can pull in videos from YouTube, upload an image, Giphy. All of this is built in. So you could pull information from any of these, okay? Then once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and actually, let's do this. I'm going to click more options because I want you to see what else is here. I could do a topic tip. So maybe I want to give them something that's going to help jar their memory. So I might say see diagram included in topic attachments for help. So maybe down here where it says topic attachments, I give them links. I believe you can put up to 10 links here. I give them a link to an image that has the water cycle on there. Maybe there's a YouTube video link that I attach here for them that will give them an overview of somebody else describing what that water cycle looks like so that they can kind of see it again. So I can put up to 10 links here. It could be whatever links you want. You give them, paste the link and then give it a title and they'll attach there. I can then give it a topic status, so I can make it active, frozen, or hidden. And then I can come over here and I can put in launch and freeze date. So if you are a proactive teacher and you want to totally front end load all of your stuff in here for the unit or for the week or something like that, you can set freeze and launch dates. Scrolling down, you have some more video features here. So students can add filters, stickers, drawing, and text to their videos and selfies. Which of these do you want them to have access to? I always leave it at both. Do you want them to be able to edit videos or attach things? This one here, do you want students to be able to like each other's videos? It defaults to off, and I think that's a good thing to leave it off. If you think to our social media craze with the likes on Instagram or Facebook and that kind of thing, it might be a good idea to leave that off just so that we're making sure that everybody feels that their voice is valued. And then there's just a few more things there for you to consider, okay? Then we come down to feedback. Basic feedback is great. It just allows basic feedback. Custom feedback is there as well. Custom feedback allows you to create a rubric. And this is really good because when you give students a rubric, it makes them know exactly what you are looking for in your grading. And so if you're going to use this for formative assessment, which is what we're using it for, you definitely might want to consider using a rubric. Any of these can be edited and changed. You can add more in there, and it just allows your students to know exactly what it is that you're looking for. Then I'm going to create my topic. My topic is ready. And then again, I can push it out in all those different ways. I can also grab a QR code too. So when we do go back to real school, this QR code is awesome to grab that, download it, print them. And a lot of teachers will hang these on bulletin boards outside of their classroom that show so that students can come by and scan it with their phone or their iPad or whatever device they have, and they're able to then contribute to the Flipgrid topic. So this is just something to keep in mind that you have access to as well. All right, so I didn't put anything in there. So our topic is created now and we're ready to go. I can always go back and edit this at any time. I have further actions here. If maybe I really like this and I want to add it to the Disco library as a resource for other teachers that use Flipgrid, I can do that here. I can hide the topic. I can move it. I can duplicate it. I can export the data, or I can even delete it. If I want to come here to share, again, I get those options. So just because you don't use them when the box pops up, you still have access to go in there and use it as well. This is a great little button here. It's called Immersive Reader, and this is a Microsoft product. I didn't mention, but Microsoft acquired Flipgrid a couple years ago. And so Immersive Reader is built right in here. And let me tell you why this is important. I'm going to go ahead and click that button, and your teachers have access to your students and your teachers have access to this. What it does is it brings the text out of whatever it is that you're in. And so once I have that, if I come down here and push, let me make sure my volume is up, come down here and push play.
Describe the steps of the water cycle.
It will play the actual text that I have put into this description. If I click here at voice settings, I can change the speed. I can make it slower or faster. I can make it male or female. If I come over here to text preferences, and just imagine I had a lot of text here, I can change the size. So for your students that may have visual impairments, that's great. I can change the spacing of the text. I can even change the font. And some people they're able to focus a little bit better if they have different fonts. And then maybe I need to change the color because of a visual impairment as well. So that's all there for you. Then under grammar options, here's something that makes my English teachers very happy. Maybe I want all of the nouns to be purple, and I can change these colors. Maybe I want to see the verbs, adjectives, adverbs, so I can see those kind of things if that's important. And this is great for students as they're learning these parts of speech to kind of see, all right, what in here is a noun? Then I can also, let me go back and click nouns, click show labels, and I'll get the little label up at the top of the word as well. Just something cool that you have. Then I also have syllables. So as my students are learning how to read, this is a great thing to put in or to click. They will be able to see that. Now, each student has this on it's built into their portal as they'll log into Flipgrid and have access to everything. It does not affect what you have created whatsoever, and the student sitting next to them at home or in real life will not be altered. Their screen will not be altered either. This is personalized for each student, okay? Then I can go to reading preferences. If I had a bunch of lines of text here, I could go ahead and change that and make it a little bit easier for me to read. I can have the picture dictionary on or off. So when I click steps, look what happens. It gives me an example.
Steps.
And it reads it for me. Now, there won't be examples for every single word, but you see that it does give you a good picture for the words. Then for my students that are ELL learners, or if they are maybe learning a new language, there are tons of languages in here that you can change this to, or your students can change it to meet their needs, and it will read it for them as well. So let's go down to Spanish, and I want to change the whole document. So you see it gives me the change there. Then when I push play,
Describa los pasos del ciclo del agua.
It reads it to me in Spanish. So this really personalizes the experience for each of your students. So I just think this is a great thing to share. Once I'm done with Immersive Reader and I have what I need as a student, I can go back to my Flipgrid and be back where I was. Okay, just something cool that I wanted to show you. Here, if I click on my flip code here, it's gonna, because I'm in my teacher portal, if I click on that flip code, it's going to take me into what the student view would look like. And there's that green plus button that we talked about this morning. So there you go. So I'm gonna come out of this one and I'm gonna go back to my grids. And I'm gonna go into the one that we worked on this morning. And so you can see where we are. So I have those two topics, the one that Flipgrid automatically created for me, and then I have the one that I created that you all put some of you guys put your introductions on this morning. And when I click it, this is the view that I'm going to see as the teacher. Okay. So maybe I'm looking at these and Barb, maybe her response when I watched it was inappropriate. I can click on that and I can make it hidden. And so now other students viewing won't be able to see her response. When I want to see the student view, which is what the students saw, there we go. And you see how your videos popped up. I'm going to go ahead and click on Tiffany's.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Dillard. I work in DeKalb County School District, which is in Metro Atlanta.
So I could watch her entire video, and then I can then reply. I'm not, actually, let's go ahead and log in so I can show you what this looks like. There we go. So I could then respond to her video. So I'm going to change my camera. There it is. So I'm just going to click record. It gives you a 3, 2, 1 countdown. And I could say, hey, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining my session this morning. It was a pleasure to have you here. I hope you learned something that you can take away. Take care. I'm going to stop it and click next. Countdown. And I could say, hey, Tiffany, thank you. I'm going to review my video. Then I'm going to take a selfie. Click next, and then my video will appear as a response under hers. It's doing its thing. Come on, there we go. Don't close this window, it's preparing your video. I can change my display name here. I can give it a title. Maybe I want to give her a link to something that she should access and read later or take a look at later. Submit the video. Yay, congratulations. I've got options there. I have a direct link to it. I can download a QR code, a video, or just download the selfie. It's complete.
I am Tiffany Dillard.
Now you'll see when I click on her video from down here, you'll see my responses right there. So I wanted to show you that part as well. And you can see that I did respond to it. There's my little selfie there. In here, you see I'm in as a student view. There's that immersive reader there again. And then up here at the top, I do have dark mode. So for some students that might not want to go into immersive reader and change it, maybe they just need that dark mode, you have that option right there as well. All right. Let's go back into the teacher view, and we're going to just continue on across the top here. Mixtapes is something that you are able to do to combine and really showcase the best of the best. So maybe you are going to put together a portfolio of all of Brandon's awesome videos that he created this year. I can add a new mixtape and I can pull in just some great things that he did this year or this semester or this week. And I can combine each of his individual responses into one, what we call a mixtape. Super easy to do. You're just going to give it a title. Might name it, Brandon's Resources. I could give it a description, and then I would create my mixtape just by pulling in those videos. Okay. Gridpals. This is the virtual pen pal that we talked about. So the examples that I gave this morning were, if you, for example, are a Spanish teacher here in the United States and you wanted your kids to have an authentic conversation with Spanish teachers in Mexico, you could come on here. Maybe you teach high school. And let's see if I come down here, if Spanish is an option. Nope. Let's see if foreign language. Let's see. I'm scrolling fast, so here we go, world languages. And then maybe if I wanted to search a specific name, I could there. So what it has done is it's narrowing it down as I'm putting in these filters. And so right now there are over 1,600 Gridpals waiting. So if I come down here, I can see that there are different people ready. These are all teachers, that have created Gridpal accounts here in Flipgrid that are giving approval for me to reach out to them and have my students connect with their students. So you see there's Indiana, Connecticut, New York. Here's Tokyo. Maybe I teach Japanese and I want to connect my students with her class. I'm trying to see if I see, well, here's Spain here. So I'm going to click on her, and what I can do is reach out to her on Twitter. I can reach out to him on Twitter. I can reach out to him on Instagram, or I can send him an invite. By sending an invite, I should have moved it. By sending him an invite, it's going to automatically, because we've put all of our information in the back end in our profile in Flipgrid, it will send him an email. And then we can, once I click this button, then we can converse back and forth and kind of set up what that would look like and go over expectations for our students. The way that you set this up is to go up here to your profile. So click on your little drop down by your name. Click on profile, and you want to make sure that all of this information is filled out. Here in the bio, this is where you really want to, they call it your brag board, but they really want you to put as much information in here as you can. So as another teacher views your bio, maybe they want to reach out and connect with your class and your students, they'll know a little bit more about you. And you can put in all of your social links there. Make sure you click update your profile. And then when you come back to here, it'll be on hidden. And what that does is take your little green dot off of this map. Make sure that it's active. And this is how other teachers are able to find you. All right, Disco Library. We're almost done, guys. This is what we talked about that I think the magic lies here. These are all pieces of content that educators and other companies have created and made available for you to use. So maybe you don't have to reinvent the wheel for what you're looking for. I do want to point out a few that I absolutely love here for you. For my people in California, California State Parks, the California State Park, like wildlife people, you'll see they're like really like wildlife people, like fire people, forestry people, and that kind of thing. They have created grids in here that we can just take and add to our grid. So maybe we're studying types of fossils. I can click on this grid or this topic here.
There are two types of fossils, body fossils and trace fossils.
So I can hear this wildlife person give me, and I'm probably totally not saying what her position is correctly, but I can listen to what she has to say. And this, my kids would see this. I can read the description. I could come over here and see that this topic has been used 127 times, and it has over a day and 20 hours of engagement ignited from these 127 teachers that have used and students that have used this topic. So if I like this, all I have to do is click the little drop down and click add to grid. And it's going to add it over here to my grid that I created for you guys that we were in this morning. The description copies over. If I want to add to this, I now have editing rights. If I want to change that time to make it less or more time for my students to speak, you have access to all of that right here. So you just go through and make the changes that you need to make. If you want to make any, update topic, and there it is. And you'll see if I come back to my grids and click on that change maker. Oh, wrong one. Click on that change maker grid. You'll see that there it is. This is the one we did this morning. And then here's the one that I just added. It's ready to go for my students. All I have to do is send it to them via Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, or embed it on my class Google site, or send it to Remind, or copy and paste that link and put it somewhere else. So cool and easy to use. When you're in here, so let's talk about just a few other ones that I really love. Wonderopolis is an awesome one. This is great. I love it for elementary students because they're so full of wonder, but also it could work for anybody. What is Fortnite? Why are rainforests important? Have you ever seen a red panda? There's so many in here. Why is Pluto no longer a planet? And you can see how much engagement these topics get. One thing that you can do is come up here to the top and click this little arrow drop down here, and I can see which ones are the most used. So the one that's most used under Wonderopolis category is Can Music Help You Think? 6 months and 1 week of engagement. It's been used over 6,000 times. So cool. So I don't want to say that this gives it credibility, but it definitely gives you a place to start so you know what you're looking for. Okay. Another great one that I absolutely love is Flocabulary. If you're not familiar with Flocabulary takes content and puts it to music so kids can easily remember it. It has YouTube video right here for the kids, so they would click and play and watch a YouTube video. There's integration notes, and I could add what I wanted my students to do with that information in their responses. They leave their responses to me. So tons in there for Flocabulary, and all contents are in that one as well. I could even come down here and filter even more based on what I want to see in the Flocabulary topic. Okay. Another one, where is it? Hacking STEM. If you're a STEM teacher, tons of stuff in here. That's awesome. Find Your Grind is a great one for especially high school students that are looking to look more into who they want to be and not what they want to be. Find Your Grind is a great company. Just a sidebar, they have an assessment that students can take on their website. And what that assessment does is ask them questions about the kind of person they want to be. And then it kind of gives them suggestions about careers that go along with the outcome that they could start to explore. So it's a super cool company that's out there. Hacking STEM, we talked about. Definitely huge conversations about race, equity, and justice. There is so much awesomeness in here, and this is absolutely timely right now. Should be timely all the time, but definitely timely right now. So tons of resources in there. Definitely take a look at those. These would be great to do with students when school first starts. So you really give them a place and a platform to process and think about what's going on. If you're a social studies teacher, the World War II National Museum in New Orleans, I believe, this is so awesome. There's testimony here from a Holocaust World War II survivor. Let's see. World War II Japanese American incarceration. So whatever it is that you are studying around this topic, there's going to be something in here for you. And it's just amazing what has been made available if you're a coding teacher. So tons of stuff in here. Definitely take a look at it as you get a chance. The other thing that I want to share with you is that there are currently over almost 23,000 topics that are in here. These are all teacher created. If you create a great topic, you can definitely add it in here if you like, totally up to you. And once you submit it, Flipgrid reviews it, and then it will release into here. So I like to say there's not a lot of fluff in here. You may find some fluff, but for the most part, they put awesome stuff in here. So you can filter by audience. Maybe you want to find something specific for your parents, or maybe you're a librarian in a school. So you can search by audience, and then you can also search by subject. So you're able to really filter and drill down into what you're looking for. So so I can show you maybe, and you may not find what you're looking for in here. It may not be created yet, which gives you an awesome opportunity to create it. So maybe I'm a middle school teacher and I want to look for math, and maybe I want to look for fractions. I'm going to search and it pulls up. So in here, for those filters that I put, there are 168 topics. So you can see that I can look through these. Again, I can filter by that engagement and see which ones are the most used. And it just gives me a place to start. Now, you don't have to use any of these. You can start from scratch if you like, which I often do. But I think that this Disco library has a lot of great resources in it that will allow you to not reinvent the wheel. Okay, definitely check that out. If you want to take another look here, these are the big featured ones at the top. There are so many work from home or school from home learning experience that are in here. What's in your bag? Would you rather? All About Me, book talks. These are all great things that you could do during like the first week of school. Pets or no pets? Would you rather math? So all just things that you could start using to build the culture and climate of your classroom in a virtual setting. The last thing we're going to touch on is shorts, and we're just going to go through and jump in. The way that I like to share with people that I love to use shorts is for people that are considering flipping your classroom. And what flipping your classroom allows you to do, let me take a sip of water. What flipping your classroom allows you to do is to give your students the content up front. And so by the time they review the content and come to you for virtual face-to-face instruction or regular face-to-face instruction, they already come with a little bit of knowledge about what it is that you're going to teach. And so I absolutely love it for that purpose. I also love it for support videos. Maybe you have students that need a little extra support. And the reason why I love shorts is because it allows you to do video editing in a very easy way. I am not savvy when it comes to video editing, but this makes it super easy. So I'm going to show you how easy this is. Okay. So I'm going to turn my camera on. All right. Hey. All right. So first things first, let's take a little tour here. When I start to record, I'm going to have 10 minutes. Okay. I also have a sticky note here. Now, this sticky note is awesome because it allows me to kind of put the points in that I want to talk about. So maybe I'm going to talk about the water cycle. I keep using the same example. And I want to talk about evaporation, condensation, so on and so forth. What I can do is just kind of drag this over. And so when I hit the record button and I'm talking, I can kind of glance up there and see, oh, don't forget to talk about these points. That sticky note will not show on your end video, which is super cool. Okay, so you have access to that. Then you have filters, and your students can also create shorts as well. I'm going to show you an example of a video that students created using shorts that is amazing. So you have all these different filters. For your students that are shy and may not want to have themselves on camera, here's an awesome filter that they can use. A lot of students are shy and don't want to be on camera, so that's just an option that you have. You also have all these different fonts. So maybe I'm going to use this typewriter feature here, and then I can drag and drop that wherever I want to, and that will show on my video. Maybe I want to put a sticker. So again, maybe I'm one of those shy students. Oh, I should have left it there so you could have seen them all. Sorry, there's a bunch of emojis in there. And maybe as I'm talking in my grid, I'm going to cover my face because I don't want you to see my face. I'm shy. I'm going to clear all of that off. I then have an annotation feature. So as I'm talking and explaining concepts, I have that there. I clear that off. And then I have a whiteboard. So my math teachers, my science teachers, my social studies teachers, even my English teachers that are writing out sentences and having kids, you're going to annotate and show them annotations over the text for parts of speech or whatnot. You can come here, and if you were on a touchscreen device, you could, I'm doing this with my touch mouse pad here, but if you had a touchscreen device, it would be even better. So I could use my whiteboard. You also have access to a blackboard. So maybe your students prefer the blackboard over the whiteboard. Okay, I'm gonna clear that off. And then the last little tab here are custom stickers. So maybe you have a class logo or something that you want to add in and have that on your video as well. You can size it down and put it wherever you want it. I'm going to actually just leave it up here for the purposes of this video. And then I'm going to turn off the blackboard as well. So now I'm going to record my short. So maybe I've put some text and images or stickers, and it's how I want it to be. Now I'm going to start to record. So it's going to give me a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and I'm going to start explaining the concept that I'm talking about. So maybe I'm talking about, where is it? Right here, learning from home. So, hey students, this is how we're going to learn from home, yada, yada, yada. This is great. So learning from home, we're going to study math. So I can then bring in my whiteboard, and I'm still talking and it's still recording. You'll see it's still recording down here, and I can start doing my math problems. I'm not doing a very good job. It is very seamless. I'm just not doing a very good job. So I could then bring in my math problem. And so maybe I'm done talking about math and I want to get rid of that whiteboard now. I want to come back so you can see my face. Yes, that's still there. I'm going to go ahead and clear everything off. And I'm just talking and lecturing and doing what I do. I'm going to click next. 1 countdown. And I'm going to... So then it's going to have me review the video, but maybe I get somewhere in here and I'm like, oh, I forgot to add something. I can come back here to add more, and it's going to reopen that screen for me to be able to add more content. Then I can drag and drop those frames where I want them to go so that I'm able to do some video editing. So you'll see it's populating in there. This was me at the beginning. There's my whiteboard, and then it'll come back to me again there. Super easy to use. Absolutely love it. I can even, I don't know if you saw that cloud up there, I can even bring in video from outside as well. So again, you'll take your selfie and click next. You can always redo your selfie as well if you don't like it. So it's going to process, do its thing. Great. And there it is, ready to go. So when I click on that, now there's my video. And I have a link for it. I can copy that link. I can grab the QR code and I can send it again to any of those places. Super cool and easy to use. Definitely check out Shorts. I absolutely love it. I'm going to come back to our presentation because these are all of the screenshots that we went through this morning. I just explained all of that and more in what we just walked through. So here's a few ways that you can use Flipgrid that you may not have thought of. I was listening to a podcast this morning, the Partial Credit Podcast. Nicole was on there, one of my friends, and one of the hosts, Donnie, said this morning, and I'm just going to paraphrase or summarize. He said, with everything that's going on in the world right now with race and equity and justice, and of course, COVID-19, he talked about the fact that by the time we get our students back, we will have had 6 months to process how to present this information to our students. And that really hit the nail on the head for me. This is not like some stuff happened on like a Friday and we thought about it over the weekend and we came back into class on Monday and, talked about it with our kids on Monday and then moved on with the content. Y'all, we have had 6 months. So if we don't put an action plan together to give our students a place to process everything that has happened, they've been home since March, just like we have. They have, seen what's going on in the world by watching TV or hearing their parents talk about it. And so we really have to put action behind the research and the reading and the planning that we've been doing. And if we don't, we're doing our kids a huge disservice. And so that's where that topic in the Disco Library, Conversations about Race, Equity, and Justice, definitely comes in. As we go through this presentation, where you see these red click here buttons, that will take you to the actual thing that it's linked to. Again, we talked about Shorts. There's some more information there for you. I pulled a bunch of these ideas from teachers on social media. So this teacher here, Martha, talked about using Flipgrid for social emotional learning. And so she talked about doing daily check-ins with her students, leaving positive vibes, sending shout outs to classmates for stress relief, maybe posting a joke of the day or having your kids play a virtual game of charades. How cool would that be? For human connection, getting to know you. What are your 3 favorite things? And then, of course, for self-reflection, SEL is going to be a huge role in what we do going forward come the fall. Some more information here on social emotional learning. Again, the DOT, if you're an elementary school teacher, there's tons of resources in the Disco Library about the DOT. This teacher, Angelique, up at the top here, has her students record Flipgrids, like tips and tricks, records a Flipgrid with tips and tricks and advice for the next year coming in and allows those new students to watch those. For my adult learners, if you have pre-service teachers, you could have them record their lessons using Flipgrid. You could also have like kind of a virtual book study for different inspirational books or different texts that you all are reading. Article studies, I know a lot of administrators lead their schools in those as well. Again, book studies, definitely a great place for Flipgrid to house those for you. Virtual field trips, that World War II National Museum that I showed you is great for my social studies teachers. This teacher at the top here, Dana, said her kids at the end of last semester in the spring did ghost hunting, but they did it like in their basement. It was like a funny thing that they did, but they went on a virtual field trip to find ghosts. Scavenger hunts, there's tons of scavenger hunts inside of the Disco Library, but I want to give you a few ideas for my little kids, my little kindergartners, PreK, first grade. Maybe you are having a virtual field trip, a scavenger hunt where you are having your kids go and find something that's blue. And so maybe one of your students goes and gets a blue Hot Wheels car and they come back and they show it to you on their topic, on their recording. And they say, hey, here's my favorite blue car. It's blue. This is what I love about it, that kind of thing. Maybe you are having them go and find 5 nouns, or maybe you are having them find things that are squishy or things that are hard, things that are smooth. For my upper grade students, maybe if you're a math teacher, you're going to have your kids find something that has a right angle, or something that has, I can't think. Maybe they have a plant that they are showing and they're talking about the leaves on the plant and they're talking about photosynthesis and all the parts that make that happen. So tons of different ideas to make that happen, but this just definitely gives you a platform for that. Again, math teachers, would you rather, this is a great one here, would you rather put $3 in the bank and have it triple each week for 4 weeks, or put $4 in the bank and have it quadruple each week for 3 weeks? Now, if you remember back to where I was doing the screenwriting, if your students have touchscreen devices, there is something to be said, especially for my math teachers, for a student that is not only writing the problem out and working through it where you can see it, but also you hear them talking their process through. So if you were to give me 20 problems to do for homework and maybe I get the first one wrong, probably I'm going to get all 20 wrong. I don't know how to do them. But if you see me doing one problem on Flipgrid and I'm saying, okay, here I crossed out the 0, changed it to an 8 and carried the 1, you know exactly where I went wrong. I was supposed to cross out that 0 and put a 9 and then carry the 1. So you can kind of hear my process and see where I went wrong. And then you can respond to that grid or that student's response. And you can say, hey, this is where you went wrong. Let me show you how to do it. And it just really helps that process. Again, science, we talked about that Hacking STEM resource and the Wonderopolis resources. English language arts, you could do context clue games. Again, with the book reviews, definitely huge for that. FlipHunts are my absolute favorite. I love FlipHunts. And so I blogged about it. If you click here, it'll give you the blog that I wrote. And I just want to show you here. I did this with some teachers a while ago. I want to show you what it looked like in action. Now, what I want you to know is that every teacher in that training was engaged. They were collaborating with each other. They were being creative. And what a FlipHunt is it allows you, let's actually do this so I can show you. If I come here to my Disco library, and I'm just going to search for FlipHunts, it allows you to put together kind of a collaborative scavenger hunt, if you will. FlipHunt. Where your teachers collaborate with each other and then, your students collaborate with each other and they're able to post a video showing evidence of what they're doing. So I'm just going to click on this one here, FlipHunt Nature. So for this one here, they would find an example that illustrates each word on the list. So there's the words on the list there. Say what it is and explain how it connects to our learning, and then label each video by typing a hashtag in the title box. So they would type hashtag twig. Remember when I finished my video and took my selfie, it had where I could put a title where my name was. That's where they would do that. So that instead of their name showing up, it would say hashtag twig. And so I could see all of the videos about twigs right there ready to go. It gives the examples there. There's a copy template here and a preview template. So it gives you access to either preview it or copy it. So when I preview it, the resource is going to load for me that this teacher has created. So if I look at this and I love it, yes, I want to use it, I can then come and click copy template and it's going to copy it. That was a Google product. It will add it straight to my Google Drive for me. Okay. So FlipHunts are awesome. It's a great way to get your kids really engaged in their learning, and definitely something I suggest you check out. Now, this is a foreign language example that I was sharing with you that is absolutely one of the best ways that I have seen Flipgrid being used. These students played like a customer and a waiter in a Mexican restaurant, and they engaged in conversation. So watch this. We won't watch the whole thing.
Buenos días, señorita. ¿Qué quieres? Buenos días. Tengo hambre. Me gustaría patatas bravas y una tortilla. ¿Algo más? No, nada más.
So it keeps going on and on and on, but how cool would this be for your students learning a foreign language to be able to create a shorts video, because that's what this is, and you see she's putting sunglasses on, pretending to be someone else and be the waiter and that kind of thing. It's just really, really cool and a great way to get your students engaged. So that's the way you could use it in a foreign language class. Oh, didn't mean to click on the tweet again, sorry. All right, for my PE teachers, here there was a PE teacher that used it for his high school basketball team to play a virtual game of horse. I think that would be super cool. I was just met with our district PE coordinator for our district, and they're going to actually use Flipgrid for their assessment that each of the kids has to do for like the sit and reach and the running the mile. They're going to have their kids document what they do in Flipgrid as a way for teachers to be able to assess. So another great way, this can be used across all contents. This right here just totally touched my heart. This student created a comic book, and then the teacher used American Sign Language with the flip codes. There's no sound to it, but with the flip codes, the QR codes that you can then make AR by scanning them on your phone. And the teacher came to life in the textbook, and in the comic book, and I don't know if you can see, she's doing American Sign Language. How awesome is that to bring learning to everybody? This one really touched my heart. And going back to what Jornay says, if you can think it, you can Flipgrid it. All right. This here, I think, is the last example that I have. This is the kindergarten administrative team that I shared with you that is using it for kindergarten orientation. And so what they did, their administrators are here. If I click on that, it's going to take me to the principal and the assistant principal giving a welcome. And you can see it's been viewed 555 times. But the administrators, the registrar, the parent liaison, the literacy coach, so all of these people, all of these staff members on their team, it even has a school song. These people have all come together and created their own topics on this grid where parents of incoming kindergartners can come in and view the information and basically have their questions answered like in a one-stop shop. A lot of teachers are using Flipgrid as like welcome back, meet the teacher kind of thing. This is also a great way for you to get to know your incoming students, have them leave a response to like a welcome back, get to know you grid, and then have them say their name. What that allows you to do is know how to say their name. A lot of students have names that are harder to pronounce, and there's magic in saying someone's name correctly. So you could definitely use it for that. Maybe they have a nickname that they prefer to be called. And so you can gather all of that information and have it at your fingertips. So another great way to use Flipgrid. The last thing I'm going to leave you with here are just a few additional resources. There's that Learning from Home tab that's in the Disco library. We talked about if you want to get certified and earn badges. All of that information is here for you. Again, that click here button, that's going to take you to the actual resource. These two guides are hyperlinked. This will take you to an educator guide that has screenshots and click here, do this, move, very specific about how to use Flipgrid. And then you have more information about Gridpals. So tons of information for you. This is Jornay that I was talking to you about, but these three ladies here, Jornay, Ann, and Jess, work on the education team for Flipgrid, and they are phenomenal. If you're on Twitter, you can reach out to them, and they always message you back. I don't know when they sleep, but they're always available, and they are just chock full of information. Maybe you want to know, hey, how can I use Flipgrid in my Latin class? I guarantee you they have an example in a way to make that happen. So definitely reach out to them if you have questions. Again, my name is Natasha Rachel. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing this information with you. In the description box, I'm going to timestamp kind of the main topic so that as you're going through the video, if you want to just go to a certain part, you can. If you have any questions going forward or need help or examples or whatever, feel free to reach out. I would love to connect with you and kind of know how you're going to start using Flipgrid with your students as we move into remote learning and as you become a change maker going forward for school coming up here in the fall. So with that, have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.